Titans are back. We're talking hard-hitting, crayon-eating, muscle mommy or daddy Titans. And with the launch of the new season came some shiny new Strand aspects to make our strong punchy boy builds even stronger. Here's a quick overview of how you get the new Strand aspects if you don't have it. Step 1, complete the entire Lightfall campaign. Step 2, complete unfinished business quest line. This is kind of a lengthy one and it gives you a worthless exotic at the end. Step 3, complete Parting the Veil quest. This one's a lot quicker and it gives you your first new aspect. Step 4, after you finish that quest, you can go say hi to Nimbus. He will give you a new quest to return to Veil Containment for another message. And if you don't know, Veil Containment is a little tricky to find. It's in the very bottom left corner of the Neomuna map. Do this and you'll obtain the new Strand aspect. You only have to do this on one character and that will unlock your aspects for all your characters. Now that you've unlocked the Banner of War aspect, let's look at what it does and how to properly utilize it. Banner of War. Defeat a target with a melee attack, finisher, or sword to raise Banner of War. That pulses with energy, periodically healing nearby allies and increasing melee and sword damage. Targets defeated by you and nearby allies charge the banner, increasing the speed of its pulse. Now, what exactly does that mean? So you only need the base Banner of War, so Banner of War times 1, to get the full benefit of the melee damage, which grants you a 40% melee damage increase. Any stack beyond that one will make the pulse around you faster, and the pulse does a good amount of healing, but it does not increase your melee damage past that. So therefore it's not necessary to get to times 4, but every other melee kill will normally give you a stack of Banner of War. And at 4 stacks, any kill by you or allies will grant you an additional second to Banner of War, so you can keep the perk active for a long time. Now, to make this Banner of War really shine, we're going to be utilizing none other than the Synthoceps exotic arms. Bionic enhancement, increased melee lunge range, improve melee and super damage when you're surrounded. So when we are near 3 or more enemies, we'll receive the bionic enhancement perk on the left of our screen. And this perk will stay there infinitely until you are no longer near 3 enemies. Then the perk will last for 8 seconds. With this perk active, we'll receive a 200% damage increase to our melee and a 50% damage increase for our super melee. And if you're watching this video this weekend of its release, then Zur is at the tower, and guess what? He is selling the Synthoceps. It doesn't have the best stat rolls, but its overall stats is 67, which is pretty high. So make sure you pick up a pair if you don't have them. Now, when picking weapons for this build, it's super easy because you don't really need weapons. The only hard requirement is having a shotgun with 1-2 punch. And what 1-2 punch does is hitting an enemy with every pellet in the shot increases melee damage for a short duration. The perk lasts for 1.22 seconds and increases your normal melee by 100% and powered melee by 40% for all enemies besides bosses. The damage increase to bosses goes all the way up to 150% for normal melee and 75% for powered melee. So once you have a 1-2 punch shotgun, your other weapons don't really matter. The only stipulation to this is if you are not in a group, you might want to use a tractor cannon for that 30% damage increase. And if you don't need a debuff, then you should run some kind of damage over time like an Anarchy or a Wither Horde. To maximize your damage, there are a few key components. We have to be near 3 or more enemies to activate bionic enhancements. Then we have to get a melee kill to receive Banner of War. After that, you want to shoot your tractor cannon or your damage over time weapon. Next, swap to your 1-2 punch shotgun and shoot it. Make sure you hit every pellet to activate that perk. Then you want to hit that enemy with all your powered melees and immediately cast your super and do a heavy attack and then spam your light attacks until the super is over. After that, use 1-2 punch shotgun again and then any powered melees you have left. Now let's take a closer look at the rest of the setup with our subclass and mods. And your abilities for your barricade and your jump, you can use whatever you feel comfortable with. And of course, for our melee, we're using Frenzied Blade. Activate your charged melee ability to dash forward, slashing targets in front of you and severing them. When you sever a target, they're going to do less damage to you, and when you defeat a severed target, they're going to release a tangle. For your grenade, it's preference on what you're doing at the time. You can use the shackle grenade if you need more CC, the Redling grenade for damage, and the grapple grenade is a great choice if you're trying to quickly reload weapons, and also you can use that enhanced grapple melee at the end of the grapple. For our aspect Next, we're using Banner of War, of course, and Into the Fray. Destroying a Tangled or casting your super grants Woven Mails to nearby allies. While you have Woven Mail, your melee regeneration is increased. In our fragments, we're using Thread of Warding. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Woven Mail. Thread of Transmutation. While you have Woven Mail, weapon final blows create a Tangled. Thread of Fury. Damaging targets with a Tangled grants melee energy. And Thread of Ascent. Activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapons and grants bonus airborne effectiveness and handling for a short duration. You only want to use Thread of Ascent if you're using the grapple grenade. As for your stats, you should focus on strength to reduce your melee cooldown. Now, taking a look at our mods and our helmet, we're using the Arc Strand Siphon combo because we're using an Arc 1-2 punch shotgun and a Strand primary, as well as hands-on gain bonus super energy on melee kills. We're pretty much only going to be melee killing things, so this is going to get your super back pretty quickly. In our arms, we're using heavy-handed to generate orbs of power off melee kills, and melee kickstart. When our melee energy is fully expended, we gain melee energy. We're going to be up close and personal, so in the chest piece, you want to run melee damage resist, as well as concussive dampener to reduce area of effect damage from combatants. In our legs, we're running recuperation to replenish health each time we pick up an orb of power, invigoration to reduce our melee cooldown each time we pick up an orb of power, and you should be running some kind of surge to match the weapon you're using the most, so probably your 1-2 punch shotgun. In your class item, make sure you have outreach to reduce melee cooldown when using your class ability, bomber, reduce grenade cooldown when using your class ability, and distribution, reduce all ability cooldowns when using your class ability near targets.